afternoon from the Alton Towers Resort, where today I'm here to share with you all of the latest updates. Of course, Scarefest is still ongoing until the end of next week, the 31st of October, and the park is open through until 9 PM. In this video though, got lots to talk about, including ride availability. I'm going to be talking about that because the Smiler's had some downtime. 13, there's been a few changes to the operation on there, and a few other bits to talk about as well. Along with that as well, going to have a look at the start of the construction for Alton Towers fireworks. Only a couple of weeks to go now until this huge display returns. Last year it couldn't go ahead due to the pandemic, and I tell you what, from looking at what's been set up so far, seems like we're in for a treat with this year's display. And along with that, I'm going to talk about the general queue times if you are visiting during October half term to the Alton Towers Resort. Starting off here with a nice ride on the monorail down to the main entrance. Let's go. Well, it's a gorgeous afternoon. Just made my way down Towers Street here and into the park. And yeah, look at the blue sky today. It's lovely. Sun shining, perfect for having a stroll around and sharing all the latest updates. And because we're here on Towers Street, then we'll start off by talking about this year's fireworks spectacular. As you can see, a lot of truss has started to appear now down on the front lawns. This is where the display takes place. It's going to be on the 5th, 6th and 7th of November 2021. So yeah, let's go and take a closer look at some of the setup. Now normally Alton Towers are pretty secretive about what the themes are going to be for the firework display each year, and we don't normally find out until the first night. However, the park have already confirmed that this year's display is going to be all about celebrating 40 years of Alton Towers as a theme park. Now we all know it's 41 years this year, but last year was the 40th celebration, and unfortunately due to the pandemic the fireworks couldn't take place. So yeah, they're celebrating it this year instead. And I tell you what, the setup looks huge, completely different to what we've seen in previous years. So yeah, just sort of show you this truss here. Of course, you got it all filled with water down there at the bottom to make sure that it stands up and doesn't fall over. And yeah, you got these huge trusses. I mean, I'd say that's maybe about 30 foot tall, I guess I'd say. There's actually 6 of these, 3 down this side and 3 over on the other side as well. So yeah, we can presume these are going to have all sorts of lighting and tech on there, possibly some screens from looking at the concept art post that Alton Towers put on the other day. Looked like there might be some visuals going on to these. Well, there'll definitely be lots of lighting, possibly speakers. However, normally the speakers go further down on the lawn towards the front and then another set a bit further back. So I'm not really expecting speakers to go on them, but again, you never know until we start seeing more going on there. But yeah, this truss has been up for a good few days now, and yeah, it's really good to see the setup. Over here as well, you've got the viewing area. I believe this will be the viewing point for the Big Bang ticket, which is like an exclusive ticket that you can get on the night, where you get this raised up viewing area. And it's good doing that. However, you're a little bit off centre. I like watching it from right in the middle of the display. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I'd never purchase it myself. I'd rather be a little bit further back actually at the bottom of Towers Street to really get the perspective of this huge show. Here's a zoom in then over towards the stage with Spinball Wizard there in the background. And yeah, like I mentioned just, you've got 3 other trusses on that side, 6 in total, all set up ready for the fireworks. The reason that they were actually set up this early was all because of the lawns being used for Scarefest. There was actually 4 days where the lawns weren't actually being used because Scarefest wasn't on last week. So that was the perfect time for them to actually get all this truss set up ready, and then they can install the lighting at a later date. If we pan just round here to the right hand side though, we can see some more areas that have been cordoned off. And yeah, they've got some more of the water butts down there at the bottom as well. So I'm thinking this could be for the speakers. There's one just here and another one over on that side as well. Yeah, looking at the positioning of those, I really think they're going to be for the speakers, because it always sounds absolutely awesome for fireworks, especially when you've got about 25,000 people standing on the lawns. So yeah, all in all, the fireworks setup is looking great for this year, and huge as well. With them celebrating 40 years of Alton Towers as a theme park, I'm really hoping the Towers ruins themselves are going to have a big focus in the display. The 2019 show, they didn't really have that much of a focus on the towers. The truss was all the way across the front lawn just here and not around the sides like it is, because that was the main focus. This year, with it celebrating 40 years, I really think the focus is going to be on the towers, hence why all the truss is around the side of the lawns. But really exciting. Are you coming down to Alton Towers fireworks? Comment down below. It's on the 5th, 6th and 7th of November 2021. Right then, we've got lots to talk about in terms of ride availability, because let's face it, if you've been checking the app over the past couple of weeks, there's been a lot of downtime here at Alton Towers, including over in X sector. The Smiler has been down for 9 days, I think it is now. So let's go and have a little look over there and talk about it. Well, here she is, looking just as graceful as ever, with that gorgeous blue sky just behind her. The Smiler down here in X sector. So the park's 2013 Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster has been shut for well over a week now. We've got a lot of people commenting saying, Sean, Charlotte, when's the Smiler going to reopen? Why is it closed? And we don't know. Like, nobody seems to know. It's very mysterious, this closure, especially with it being closed for such a long period of time. Here we go then. So I was just about to walk further down into X sector. We've got some more testing going on just here. I'd heard that it has been testing. But yeah, as you can see, there's dummies making their way round the Smiler's track. So I was really lucky with the timing there to capture that footage of the Smiler testing with the dummies on the train there as well. Now what's really different with this is the fact that the Smiler isn't actually going continuously around the track testing. It's actually been about 15-20 minutes since I captured that last clip. I've been waiting about here in X sector to see it go again, and it just hasn't happened, which is really interesting. Normally when they're testing rides, they just keep cycling them again and again, but that isn't what's happening with the Smiler. So it's very interesting. I've also heard from a few fans of the channel that have been here this week that that's been the case. They've just seen the Smiler test maybe once throughout the day, and that's been it. So yeah, really interesting what's going on. The park is stating, in terms of some of the entrance staff, and I've also seen it on social media, that the ride needs a part to fix it. However, if it needs a part, how come trains are cycling round? So really interesting. So it doesn't quite add up with this one. When's it going to reopen? Hopefully soon. I mean, we're in the busy week and a half now of Scarefest, being shut for well over a week. But the answer is, who knows at the moment? The ride's testing, but it has been for quite a few days. So we'll see what happens with the Smiler. Here we go. Well, I've been waiting around for about 30 minutes now. Another train cycling the track there on the Smiler, full of dummies. I've just actually checked on my calendar, and it's been 11 days since the ride last had guests on board. So yeah, a couple more days than I thought. So there we go, some more footage of the Smiler testing. From waiting around a little bit more, it seems like every 20 minutes or so is when they're sending a train round the track with water dummies on. So as always here at Theme Park Worldwide, we'll keep you updated on all of the latest news. From Alton Towers, it's our local park, it's the one that we visit the most. And yeah, it is a shame that the ride's closed, but you've got to think the park wouldn't want it to be closed. There's certainly something up with it, and safety is always paramount at theme parks. That is always right at the top. So with the Smiler, they want to make sure that they get it right before that ride is back open again and allowed to operate. But like I say, we'll keep you updated here on Theme Park Worldwide with all the latest news. Talking of ride availability updates, 13 is another one that everyone's been talking about over the past couple of weeks. It spent a couple of days closed, and then it reopened, and now it's not actually allowed to operate in the rain. So let's talk more about that. So there's a 45-minute advertised wait this afternoon for 13. Now this coaster opened here at the park back in 2010, was manufactured by Intamin. Now like I mentioned, just this coaster unfortunately can no longer operate in the rain. So if you are during a queue like today and it's 45 minutes and it starts raining, what they've normally been doing is evacuating the queue, which isn't great at all, especially for a ride that's here in the UK. But why are they doing this now? I mean, the ride's operated fine since 2010. Let's have a bit of a talk about it. So how this has ended up happening is quite a long story, but I'm going to explain it to you now and make it as easy for you to understand as I can do. So back in 2008, the corkscrew roller coaster closed here at Alton Towers. Such an iconic ride. Of course, you can still spot the actual corkscrews down on the entrance to the park. It's the ride that really made Alton Towers the theme park that it is today. However, when the ride closed in 2008, for them to get planning permission for the new ride that opened in 2010-13, they actually need to make sure that it was going to be quieter than the former ride that operated on that site, which was the corkscrew. Because anyone that knows that coaster well will know that it used to have a very noisy lift hill. So yeah, for them to get that permission, basically they had to make sure the ride was going to be quieter, mainly because the village of Alton is just the other side really of this part of the park, and you could hear the corkscrew down there. So all the local residents wanted to make sure really that there wasn't going to be another roller coaster that was making such a loud noise. So you're probably all thinking, hang on a minute, Sean, how does this affect 13 from operating in the rain? Well, let me move on to that now. As you can see here, when 13 makes its way up the lift hill, it doesn't really make any noise at all, does it? And that's because it doesn't use a conventional chain lift. It's actually using the kicker wheels that you can see just there underneath the track to carry it up to the top of the lift hill. And like I say, that was all designed so that the noise would be really minimal on there. Apologise about the sky ride coming past, but this is the best angle to get of 13's lift to talk about it. So yeah, that's the reason why it actually has that kicker wheel lift hill. And that's the same with the second lift hill as well, that takes you over into the crypt. In fact, if I zoom in just over here, we should see it in a few seconds' time if the sky ride doesn't get in the way, making its way up the top of the second lift hill and over into the indoor section. So yeah, that's why, you know, all because of noise. So then it leads me on to think, hang on a minute, why are they doing this now? And that's the next part of the story. Now the ride might be called 13, however don't be confused, it is only 11 years old. However, on a completely different note, I'm hoping that in a couple of years' time, for 13's 13th birthday, well, I said that right, they're actually going to do some sort of celebration for it, fingers crossed. But yeah, I just want to talk more about some of the other things that have happened with 13 over the years. It's not actually been able to operate below a certain temperature, that's just a standard procedure for quite a few rides here at Alton Towers and around the world, all because of safety. And in more recent years, with COVID-19, we've actually seen water dummies on there, and that was done all because of social distancing measures and to make sure that the train could still complete the circuit as it needed to. So that leads us on to where we are now, Scarefest 2021. And for the past couple of weeks, the ride hasn't been able to operate in the rain. I actually know a few friends of mine that got evacuated from the brake run the other day just because they couldn't send it round even in the slightest bit of rain. So yeah, it's caused quite an inconvenience for people, especially the fact that, you know, you've queued up 45 minutes or longer for this ride. We're at a peak time of the year, it's busy at Scarefest, and then being told they can't go on it in the rain. So yeah, something's clearly happened for this to have took place. So information from some of our sources this week suggests that there's actually been some sort of incident on 13 a few weeks ago in regards to the kicker wheel lift hill. Now we don't know exactly what, however that has now led to the ride not being able to operate in the rain due to safety reasons. So of course that's the main thing, safety is paramount. It then leads me on to talk about what's going to happen in the future. Is it always going to be like that, or are we going to see them make some changes? I'm expecting them this winter to maybe get the manufacturers back in from Switzerland, Intamin, and to work with the technicians here at Alton Towers and the maintenance team to actually rectify the issue, so that fingers crossed for next season that isn't going to be an issue with 13. So there you go, a bit of a long story to explain, but yeah, there you go. Hopefully that's gave you a bit of information and just a bit of warning. Check your weather app. If it looks like it's going to rain and you come into Alton Towers between now and the end of the season, probably don't join the queue for 13, as you're not going to get your ride. Right then, so the final subject that I wanted to talk about in this video was queue times. And if you're going to be coming to the resort over the next couple of weeks, of course Scarefest runs until the 31st. We've got Gangster Granny the Ride just over here, the new attraction for this year. It was getting some pretty big queues earlier in the year. But yeah, as you can see from the app just here, it's advertised at 25 minutes at the moment. So yeah, not too bad. The best time to come down here to the world of Davy Williams is definitely in the afternoon, because it gets so much quieter. And this area of the park is open through until 9 o'clock as well. Worth pointing out, CBeebies Land, that closes at 7. But yeah, you can see some of the queues down in CBeebies are quiet. In the Night Garden, 0 minutes. Raj up here in Davy Williams, that's 0. Pose and Pat, 0. Peter Rabbit. So yeah, in the afternoons, they're generally the best times to head on to all your family rides. If you haven't already though, make sure you download the Alton Towers app, because it'll give you loads of information about what's going on. But yeah, as you can see, pretty good in terms of queue times for the family rides today. Octonauts 10 minutes, that's the busiest in CBeebies. Gangster Granny 25 up here. Hex is closed at the moment, technical issues, and of course the Rapids, that's still ongoing, closed as well, but I'll talk more about that when we head round that way. Down here now then at Wicker Man. Now it's currently advertised at a 40-minute wait. You gotta think there's probably about half an hour to go until it's pitch black tonight here at Alton Towers. The best advice for you if you're coming in terms of not waiting as long for Wicker Man is either joining the queue about this sort of time, 40 minutes. Bear in mind, by the time you get through the pre-show and onto the train, it's going to be dark. Or doing it right at the end. If you join in the queue for this about 7, half past 7, then yeah, it's going to be really busy and you're going to be waiting a lot longer. So either get in that queue that little bit before it gets dark,
like a lot of people are doing now with a 40-minute wait, or getting there at ride close, because like I've always said, at 9 o'clock, which is the ride close for Scarefest, it's the entrance to the queue that shuts at that time, not the actual ride. So as long as you're in that queue, you're going to get your ride on Wicker Man. Down here at Spinball Whizzer then now, advertised on a 30-minute queue tonight for Spinball Whizzer. Yeah, let's have a little look on the app just here. To be honest, queues aren't too bad on a night. It is pretty chilly now, and to be honest, looks like it's going to be cold all week. So that means that a lot of families are going to go home on an evening, meaning that some of the queues are going to get quieter. Wickerman 65 now, see what I mean? It's starting to go up already. So yeah, you want to be getting in about half hour, 40 minutes before it gets pitch black or at the end of the night. Yeah, with Spinball Whizzer, really, just don't do it at the start of the day. And I say don't do it at the end of the day, but really during Scarefest, even Spinball isn't too bad at the end. So a lot of people, it's too cold for them, you know, they don't want to hang about waiting in a queue at the end of the night down here at Spinball. So you're not normally too bad on the queue at the end of the night for this one. Oh, lighting's really nice and atmospheric down here. There's been a few changes actually, just by Freak Show Toxic Junkyard. Much darker around here now, that really adds to the atmosphere. About a 5-minute wait there for Freak Show. Not too bad at all. So even though they put a roof on Toxic Junkyard for this year, it's still one of them that people want to do at night. And yeah, I don't blame everyone, to be honest, because it is so much better in the dark. Just want to say, in terms of the mazes, they don't seem like they've been getting that bigger queues this year compared to previous years. Bear in mind that you are paying for the 4 mazes and also Trick or Treat Town, which is the 5th attraction. All of them are paid this year. So yeah, they're not getting too big a queues, which of course means more night rides. Just want to say in regards to the mazes though, since the opening weekend, I have been through them all again, and I've got to say, they have improved in terms of the amount of actors that are within them. I still want to see a lot of changes for next year. 15 years of Scarefest, freshen up the lineup, but no, it's good that the attractions have now got more actors in than on that first weekend of Scarefest. It's one of them with mazes, you do them on the first day, actors are just getting used to it, and also as well, it all depends on break runs and that sort of thing, doesn't it? So no, I'm glad that I've had some better run-throughs, but still hoping for a much fresher event in 2022. On the towers, absolutely gorgeous. Honestly, the lights on there always bring it out. So nice for Scarefest. It looks stunning. In terms of queues down in X Sector, Oblivion 5 minutes, Enterprise 5 minutes, Mixtape 45. Honestly, these temporary rides for this year have done really well. Can't wait to find out what they do next year. Not too busy then up here in Katanga Canyon. Runaway Mine Train is always a great ride to do at night as well. And yeah, it's advertised at the moment on 15 minutes. Yeah, Congo River Rapids, as I mentioned earlier on, is still closed. It's been shut for a couple of weeks now. No sign really of it reopening. There's been no testing from what we've seen anyway during the normal park operating hours. Could it be off for the rest of the season? Who knows? But yeah, it's not looking likely to be opening anytime soon, unfortunately. And just to add to that a little bit further, the fact they've actually screwed this sign into the post here, saying that the ride is currently unavailable, makes me think that we're not going to be getting on this till next year. One thing that I really wish Alton Towers did was actually have a section on the website just informing people of ride closures. Like the fact the Smiler's been closed for 11 days now. It could be on there on the website just to let people know. Same with the Rapids. Unless you've got the Alton Towers app, you're not going to know that them rides are closed. So yeah, I'd love to see Alton Towers do that. I know that it's not really something that the Merlin parks do. A great park that does is Drayton Manor and also Blackpool Pleasure Beach. They've stated now on their website that Grand National's closed for the rest of the year. But Drayton Manor's one that have done it for many years. Got a little square on the website, just puts any information about ride closures on there. And I think it's really important for the parks, being honest, because people pay a lot of money and travel a long way to come here to the theme parks. Oh, look at the beast go. Just had 2 rides on Nemesis tonight. It's only got a 5-minute queue. Yeah, everything down in Forbidden Valley is quiet tonight, other than Galactica. Yeah, Galactica tonight is on a 40-minute queue. Seems like it's been pretty popular all day from looking on the app. Oh, good old Nemi. Love it. Well, that's going to do it then for tonight's vlog here from the Alton Towers Resort. If you haven't already though, check out the 2 previous vlogs from Scarefest. We've got the maze reviews and general ambience of the park. Along with that, checking out the night rides here at Alton Towers. So check them out if you've not already seen them. But yeah, lots going on in this vlog tonight. Of course, checking out what's going on with the Smiler, 13 as well with the operational changes, and of course the fireworks construction that's really exciting. But yeah, in terms of night rides, if you're staying through until 9 o'clock, the last hour of the day will really start to filter out. So that is the time to get on more rides. Like I said earlier on, if you jump in the queue at 1 minute to 9, then yeah, you're going to get your ride on that attraction. So I definitely recommend doing that, especially with Wicker Man, because that's the one that everybody wants to ride at night. Everyone comes to Wicker Man in the dark, and yeah, get in the queue right at the end. It's absolutely fantastic. But there we go, that's all for tonight. There is going to be one more vlog coming from Scarefest, and that's something that me and Charlotte did last year. We're going to be dressing up, and we're doing it again this year, and I think you're going to love our costume. We've got matching costumes this year, and that'll be coming up this week here on Theme Park Worldwide from the Alton Towers Resort. But yeah, it's absolutely freezing cold tonight. I'm not staying through until the end. I'm actually going down the hotels just to meet some friends tonight, have a bit of a catch up with them, and yeah, catch some of the Halloween ambience there, because they've also got shows and stuff going on in the hotels as well. So thanks for joining me, Sean Sandbrook, here on Theme Park Worldwide, and that leaves me one final thing to say: happy Scarefest and keep on riding. See you soon.